Reactor online, sensors online, weapons online, all systems nominal. Oh, I'm thinking of something. Thinking of a different game, okay. Welcome back to another exciting installment of L1011 Widebody reads the Hollow Archives because they're there and people put time and effort into writing them. We have the honorable history of Clan Jade Falcon. The Jade Falcons are not full of themselves at all. Introduction. Comstar Classified Report. Sanctum Level Clearance. BLP 613 DTC. Huh. That rhymes. From Anastasius Fusht, Presenter Marshal of the Comguards, Hilton Head Island, Terra. That's in South Carolina, I believe. 2 Cadets of the Sandhurst Royal Military Academy, Terra. Date 15 March 3053, because in the future we'll be using the dorky European way of marking our dates. Greetings to the warriors of Blake's True Vision. This report provides the best possible information on Clan Jade Falcon, the proven enemy of any who dare stand between them and their dream of a Star League reborn. Yep. This clan came within an elemental's jump of forever crippling the Inner Sphere's strongest military, yet fell to its own idea of honor. The Falcons displayed tactical genius on Turkina, but failed to achieve victory because of strategic short-sightedness. Also because the plot was written for the Inner Sphere to win. Well, yeah. Despite its failings, Clan Jade Falcon, Avengers of the Chevalier, followers of Turkina, and Grand Protectors of the Cameron Legacy, Bill S. Ted Esquire, nonetheless proved to be one of the fiercest clans in the invasion. The general history of the clans, the overall structure of their caste-driven society, and their military organization appears in the information I provided in the previous report on Clan Wolf. If you remain ignorant of the ways of the clan, I spit on your grave. Strongly suggest you seek out a copy of that report. The wealth of information available about Clan Jade Falcon comes almost entirely from the crew of the Outbound Light, one of our jump ships assigned to mapping the stars. Outbound Light's 3-year voyage ended abruptly when the ship jumped into an unexplored star system and encountered the clans. Hello! Talk about a jump scare. The star system, known as Huntress, belongs to clans Smoke Jaguar and Jade Falcon. Those are 2 clans that you would not want to cross the foul of. The Outbound Light's unexpected appearance must have persuaded those clans that it was time to make their dream of a Star League reborn a reality. The clans treated the crew, commanded by Rom Preceptor Arabella Bradford. What would that be? Royal something Magistry. As guests. The Smoke Jaguar cons, yes, I say Jaguar, cons apparently wanted to glean as much information on the current situation in the Inner Sphere as possible from the crew, and wisely decided to do so by gaining their confidence instead of picking their brains by chemical persuasion. Oh, what is this? Clan Smoke Jaguar acting rationally? No, that doesn't happen ever. Except for this time. Placing very few restrictions on their liberty, well, where would they go anyway? The clans allowed the crew to travel to towns, factories, and military installations on Huntress and other clan worlds. Their report of these experiences provided valuable insights into clan society, particularly the structures of clans Jade Falcon and Smoke Jaguar. Well, if you're on the planet that's owned by Clan Smoke Jaguar and Jade Falcon, I would assume you would run into the structures of Jade Falcon and Smoke Jaguar. That is like Like, would you go into Germany and in the Cold War and not know that there's an East Germany and a West Germany? Whatever. This treatment also allowed the ship's crew to become comfortable enough with their hosts to talk freely about their work and lives, and to gossip about the political environment in the Inner Sphere. Oh yes, always love to gossip. Even without revealing military information, the crew of the Outbound Light provided a clearer picture to the clans of what to expect in the Inner Sphere than all their probing missions, including Wolf's Dragoons, put together. Not surprisingly, the crew of the Outbound Light returned to the Inner Sphere with no idea of the location of the clan homeworlds. How does that work? Before sending them home, clan scientists put the crew members through a thorough electrochemical procedure designed to erase all memories of their trip to Huntress. Oh, that's not nice at all. Literal brainwashing with chemicals and bleach and stuff. Total recall kind of stuff. Brutally effective inhibitors block every attempt our scientists have made to reconstruct the crew members' memories and gain information that could lead us back to the clan worlds. In fact, most of the Explorer ship crew can no longer even travel comfortably in a jump ship. Oh, that's just nasty. We must all continue to study the clans, so that the sacrifice made by all who died on Turkina and on other worlds defending the Inner Sphere will not be in vain. The truce between Comstar and the clans will end in 15 years, or not. At present, the Inner Sphere and the clans are too exhausted militarily, and at such a low level of morale that both are incapable of mounting any type of campaign. But the clans will not repeat their mistakes when they resume their assault, and Comstar and the other Inner Sphere warriors must prepare to stand against a stronger and wiser clan. Just the one. When that day arrives, the warriors of Clan Jade Falcon will be at the forefront, eager to erase the memory of their defeats and prove that theirs is the better way. How well your leaders heed one of the basic tenets of military strategy, know your enemy, will determine whether they triumph or fall. Okay, alright then. The Founders! Praise be the founders of Clan Jade Falcon, Daniel Matlov. From him came the fire of the first Falcons. Karl Akeza. From him came the stubbornness and strength. Lisa Buhalan. From her came the will to remember from the Jade Falcon invocation. I believe Buhalan is a Russian word for something or another, but I don't remember off the top of my head what it's for. And the stubbornness and strength, yes, of course. Falcons are known for that, being stubborn when they're dive bombing their prey. Yeah, okay, whatever. In 2784, when it became clear that the corruption Stefan Amaris had spread through the 5 houses of the Inner Sphere now threatened to engulf the Star League Defense Force, General Alexander Kerensky presented the idea of an exodus to his troops. 80% of the SLDF responded when Kerensky gave the exodus order, and 1,000 ships jumped into uncharted space. They traveled more than 1,300 light-years from the Inner Sphere, eventually settling on 5 barely habitable worlds that lay within 5 closely situated star systems. That would be the Pentagon worlds. 5, meaning Penta. As Kerensky dismantled the artificial military structure created by the journey, old hatreds and distrust re-emerged, and the heirs of the SLDF eventually fell into a 20-year battle on the 5 settled worlds of the Pentagon that eerily resembled the Succession Wars. Yeah, humans are like that. We'll just kind of go to war for whatever reason. Alexander's son, Nicholas, recognizing the signs of another debilitating struggle, led another exodus on the path to a new civilization. 600 warriors followed Nicholas Kerensky back from the world of Stronamekti to the war-torn Pentagon. No longer members of the Star League Defense Force, Nicholas's force called itself the Clans of Kerensky. With great skill and ferocity, they put an end to the bitter factionalism that had killed millions. Nicholas Kerensky brought the fierce, warrior-based society he had created on Stronamekti to the survivors on the Pentagon worlds. They hailed him as a hero and embraced his new code of killing and killing some more, apparently. The clans pay homage to their founding members with yearly memorials. This praise is not distributed equally, however. Each clan considers only a handful of their original members to be of particular importance to the clan and deserving of the title Founder. The Founder's importance springs from many sources, but most often for their rule during the Exodus Civil War, their support for Nicholas Kerensky as he created his new society, or for the honor that the particular founder's genetic heritage has brought to the clan over time. Clan Jade Falcon recognizes 4 founders. They are Lisa Buhalan, Devin Matlov, Carl Ikaza, and Elizabeth Hazen. Of the 4, Elizabeth Hazen is the most prominent in the hearts and minds of all Jade Falcon warriors. Let's talk about her. Elizabeth Hazen. But all hail mighty Elizabeth Hazen and Turkina, as first among equals, for she was the first Khan, and Turkina her winged soul. From them came our spirit and destiny from the Jade Falcon invocation. I just love this poetic, pseudo-biblical stuff. It's great. Clan Jade Falcon history truly begins with the birth of Elizabeth Cynthia Hazen on April 5th, 2741. Oh, you're supposed to use the backwards European ways. Not communist enough, yar. Ha! In the city of Alexandria, the state of Virginia, North American continent, Terra. Oh, she's born on Earth. Upon reaching her legal majority, Elizabeth joined the Star League Defense Forces, immediately beginning to demonstrate great prowess as a MechWarrior and leader. Though only 25 years old at the time of the Amaris coup, Hazen was already commander of a company of the Royal Black Watch Regiment, the elite honor guard of the Cameron family. Very highly regarded. Captain Hazen was not with her company the day the usurper assassinated Richard Cameron and had his troops destroy the Black Watch. That would be Stephen Emmerich. She was with her brother, Lionel. He likes trains, you know. An aerospace pilot with the Black Watch who had crashed his fighter the day before. After. When Amaris troopers stormed the hospital where Hazen's brother was being treated, they herded everyone out into the parking lots, leaving behind those patients who could not walk, including Lionel Hazen. Elizabeth Hazen realized something was very wrong. In an act of brutality so typical of Amaris, he ordered the hospital bombed before the eyes of the terrified onlookers. Whoa, what the hell? That's some kind of war crime there. What a jerk. Elizabeth Hazen and several others managed to escape from their captors in the ensuing confusion. In the months, then years, that followed, Elizabeth gathered together other soldiers and civilians eager to fight back. They formed the Ghosts of the Black Watch, GBW, a guerrilla force that haunted the mountains and forests of the Olympic Peninsula, striking strategic Amaris interests with great skill and fury. Is that the Washington State Olympic Peninsula? A decade after the coup, General Kerensky's forces liberated Terra from Ameris rule in 2779. Elizabeth Hazen and her followers emerged from hiding, looking, in the words of General Kerensky, like a band of starving wolves. Oh, how ironic that she would become the leader of the Jade Falcons or something. The Star League awarded Elizabeth Hazen the Star League Medal of Honor and inducted her into the Order of the Sword as a reward for her constant loyalty. She was the last to be accorded such honors. The ghosts of the Black Watch suffered great physical and emotional hardships during their decade of resistance, and Elizabeth Hazen may have suffered most. When General Kerensky offered her a position on his command staff, she requested release from the SLDF instead. For a year, Hazen wandered across Terra, sometimes teaching English to support herself, and finally settling as a language tutor in Budapest. The brothers of a Catholic monastery high in the hills above the city introduced Elizabeth to falconry. After Kerensky's defeat of Stefan Ameris, he waited patiently another 3 years for the leaders of the 5 great houses to elect a new First Lord of the Star League. When the Council Lords failed to elect a new First Lord and instead disbanded the Star League because each wanted the highest power for him or herself, isn't that just like a bunch of guys? General Kerensky gave his troops the Exodus order rather than face what he saw as the coming Armageddon. Somehow, Elizabeth Hazen learned of what was happening. That's a great way to start a sentence. Somehow, many Jade Falcon poets and lore masters believe that General de Chevalier traveled to Budapest to inform her, an opinion unconfirmed by our historians. This version of events would also support the unconfirmed belief that Elizabeth Hazen and Aaron de Chevalier shared more than a passing friendship. Ooh, getting it on in the times of the Star League. The fact remains that Elizabeth Hazen joined the Exodus, recommissioned by General Kerensky himself to the rank of Major and given a position in General de Chevalier's command staff. Recorded history reveals little about Major Hazen's role in the Exodus. Most likely, she had little to occupy her time until the Prinz Eugen Mutiny, when 9 warships in the Exodus fleet rebelled against Kerensky's authority and decided to return to Terra. Kerensky sent a large force, including Major Hazen, to capture the fleeing mutineers. Can't have mutinies. When the pursuing forces returned with the 9 renegade ships, General Kerensky ordered the leaders executed and put Hazen in command of one of the firing squads. Take that as an honor, I suppose. The Legend of Turkina. Then warrior Hazen grew cold, watching noble de Chevalier die. She heard her mind whisper, urging her to fly, to forget her duty, but with a defiant cry, proud Turkina dove from the realm of death, to seize Hazen's heart and shake it free of fear, leaving pure her soul and her duty clear. Man o' war, man o' war. Oh, sorry. No, never mind. The Remembrance, Clan Jade Falcon. Passage 8, verse 36, lines 58, P66. In the course of their travels away from Terra, General Kerensky and his followers came upon a cluster of marginally habitable star systems less than a jump apart. Haven't we been over this before? His soldiers and the civilians who shared his vision enough to accompany him so far from Terra colonized 5 of these worlds, naming them Arcadia, Cirque, Dagda, Eden, and Babylon. Not in alphabetical order, as that would make too much sense. For several years, peace reigned among the general's followers. It's a lot better than raining blood. Though life was not without danger as the colonists fought and struggled to tame their hostile new homeworlds. To carry out this work, Kerensky realized that he must demilitarize his followers, reducing his forces by 75% through a series of severe tests that only the most skilled soldiers could pass. Well, what are you going to do with the rest of them? Elizabeth Hazen passed easily, retaining her commission and taking command of the Dagda military garrison, where she also became involved in the fledgling civilian government. These peaceful years marked the Exodus scientists' first major breakthroughs in genetic engineering. Their earliest efforts produced predators designed to hunt down native life forms that posed a particular threat to the colonists. Yeah, they brought a whole zoo of them with them for some reason, like Noah's Ark. Perhaps the most beautiful of these man-made creatures are the Jade Falcons. Oh, are you biased a little bit, Jade Falcon? The Jade Falcon, created from the genes of the peregrine and gerfalcon, is the size of Terra's largest eagle. With its razor-sharp talons, the Jade Falcon hunts the Eden Serpent, a large, venomous, winged reptile native to the planet Eden. Ahaha, that's kind of funny. The snake would be native to Eden. A lot of biblical reference there. The Jade Falcon was soon exported to Dagda to deal with a similar menace on that world. There, the Jade Falcon's prey was a creature the colonists named the Dagadar, a large quasi-avian that attacked the colonists' livestock. What is a quasi-avian? According to clan lore, Elizabeth Hazen was the first to completely tame and train a Jade Falcon. She named her prize Turkina, after the particularly powerful wife of one of the ancient Mongol Khans on Terra. So that's where the Turkina name comes from. That would eventually be the name of a very heavy battle mech in the service of Jade Falcon. The sight of Hazen and Turkina became a familiar one throughout the Pentagon. Some stories even claim that Turkina read her mistress's mind. In one such story, Elizabeth happened to challenge the developer of a piece of land, whose price she believed to be ridiculously high. When she confronted the man with her suspicions, he threatened her with a convenient accident. Oh, be a shame if something happened to your Jade Falcon there. She was alone and no one would ever know what happened. Hazen replied that she had all the protection she needed and pointed up at a tiny speck circling in the cloudless sky. At that instant, Turkina gave a screech of defiance, folded her wings, and plummeted straight at the terrified developer, only to pull out of the dive with her talons just centimeters from his face. Hello. Major Hazen and Turkina became unwilling celebrities for a time, but their fame was quickly forgotten as tensions over scarce food and other essentials erupted on Dagda and the other Pentagon worlds. This fed old hatreds over cultural differences, which escalated so quickly and violently that Kerensky, once again titled Protector of the Star League, prepared to mount a diplomatic military mission to try to defuse the situation and avoid civil war. It's like, can't we all just get along? He began by ordering General de Chevalier, with Major Hazen as his second in command, to disarm a Liao separatist faction that had refused all peaceful overtures on the southern continent of Eden. Again, ejected from the Garden of Eden. The order found Elizabeth Hazen caring for an ailing Turkina who had been stricken by a virus. Oh no! 2 hours before Hazen shipped for Eden, the fabled Turkina died. The loss of her falcon companion devastated Elizabeth, and she left for Eden with a heavy heart. Yeah, I can feel the pain of that. 10 days later, De Chevalier and Elizabeth Hazen used their mechs to lead a force of infantrymen through the dense Pokial jungle. Under the reddish midday sun, the force entered a clearing and met an ambush. That's not what you would like to find. Elizabeth Hazen's mech, a Black Knight, fell first when it stepped into a concealed, oil-filled pit. Elizabeth ejected clear as her mech pitched forward and sank chest-deep into the black liquid, then exploded in flames an instant later. The Major's relief at avoiding a fiery death was short-lived. As she floated down towards solid ground, a bullet hit her helmet, knocking her unconscious. Hazen woke to the sight of a desperate battle. De Chevalier's mech, its mangled right leg dragging behind, had also fallen into a concealed pit. Oh, very dishonorable fighting there. Instead of bailing out, however, the general continued firing his weapons with apparent disregard for his perilous position. In an attempt to protect their leader, his soldiers established a perimeter guard around the mech and began a fierce barrage of weapons fire. So kind of sort of lampshading how easy it is to, if it was realistic, to destroy the mechs that are walking, but, you know, mechs are cool, so we'll ignore that. As Elizabeth Hazen struggled out of her harness and stumbled toward the fray, the jungle erupted with the sound of handheld missiles leaving their tubes, like bazookas. Some missed their targets and set trees aflame. Others fell among the infantry, who lived for a few tortured seconds until the flaming jelly burned the flesh from their bodies. Apparently napalm is allowed in the future. But most of the missiles hit De Chevalier's mech, smearing it with burning petrochemical and setting the pool of oil around it on fire. Elizabeth could imagine the waves of heat building in the general's mech. Could almost see the heat indicators creep up toward the critical range. She must have whispered a prayer that General de Chevalier would eject. The hatch on the mech finally jettisoned, and for a moment it looked as though Elizabeth's prayer had been answered. An instant later, the general's ejection seat lifted him out of the stricken mech on a column fire, just as another salvo of missiles streaked from the jungle toward the mech. One struck the general, creating a fireball of flame, smoke, and debris. Oh, that's not nice at all, getting shot when you're ejected. A story called The Falcon Vision chronicles the tale of De Chevalier's death and the succeeding events. Said to have been written shortly after Elizabeth Hazen's death, the tale's ornate language makes it very long, but quite beautiful. Oh, what would you know about very long prose, huh? All Jade Falcon cadets memorized the story during training and recite it at their graduation ceremony. Good for them. The Falcon Vision provides the best version of what happened next. And our founder knew fear and despair, for as the glow from the fireball faded, she heard the cheers of the enemy, and the sound stripped away what courage was left in her heart. She crawled away from the battle until she reached a small green clearing that was cool and quiet. She wondered what to do. Her heart told her she had suffered enough these past few days, first as the death of Turkina, and now the violent death of her best friend. Could anyone suffer such sorrow and not think of running away, or worse? One small part of her argued against this urge to flee. Yes, the universe had struck terrible blows against her, but she still lived and should continue the struggle. But that thought grew fainter and fainter until it was little more than the droning of a mosquito against the siren's call to throw off her uniform and slip into the jungle where she could wait for oblivion. Yeah, very, very purple prose there. Nicely done. A familiar cry pierced the air and cut short her reverie. Before her mind had registered its astonishment, our founder watched great Turkina land on a perch in front of her. The bird's emerald eyes looked sternly upon the battered form of her mistress. Turkina opened her beak, not to scream, but to speak with contempt. "Weakness," Turkina said. "Weakness from my mistress? It is not possible. When our stunned founder made no reply, Turkina ruffled her feathers angrily and spoke again. She's having some kind of dream vision here. "Why do you sit here like a frightened pigeon, hiding from the fight?" she asked. "You should be out there, talons ripping, beak dripping with the blood of your foes, not crouched here waiting to die a coward's death." At that, the pride of our founder rose like bile. "I decide what I do, and will not let some hallucination tell me to die a meaningless death." Hallucination? Let this be the doings of a hallucination, then. Turkina bent and slashed the back of our founder's left hand with her beak, drawing blood and pain. Whoa, what? So, all of a sudden, the Falcon can talk. Okay, why not? Elizabeth Hazen accepted that it was indeed Turkina perched before her, impossible as that seemed. In a voice full of self-pity, Hazen confessed her fear and despair. Turkina replied that every death held meaning as long as a life was honestly given for the common good. The Spectre Falcon chastised her former companion, claiming that a warrior returned from a fight was worse than a coward and acted against nature. Some are born to till the fields, some are destined to create. You trained from birth to be a warrior, just as I trained at your fist when I had barely escaped the shards of my shell. To turn your back on your destiny because you are frightened or sick of the hunt is an abomination against nature. Oh, jeez. That's some powerful words from the talking mystical falcon thing. Elizabeth rose, swearing to be true to her nature and re-enter the fight. Turkina rejoined, "If this is true emotion, then swear upon the love we shared when you were my mistress to give all that you have and are to protect and advance the virtues you hold dear. Fight so that your children may look back upon what you have done and say, 'Praised be the name of Elizabeth Hazen, for she was what a warrior should be.'" Our founder, her voice choked with pride and honor, swore upon all that was holy to fulfill Turkina's vow. Oh, very moving. Our founder turned to rejoin the fight, only to discover that she no longer wore her sidearm. Uh-oh. "I have no weapon. How will I avenge the death of the Chevalier?" she asked. "Have you not learned that a warrior's weapon is his body, and that swords and lasers and mechs are but extensions of that weapon?" Turkina said. With a cry that sounded like a laugh of triumph, Turkina launched into the air and like a ray of light disappeared into the sky. Oh, the power was in you all along. Fearing that she had lost the blessing of her wondrous vision, Elizabeth Hazen set out toward the clearing, determined to use her hands, feet, and mind to continue the reading forever. Ugh. Struggle. When she heard Turkina's clear cry once more, she looked into the sun and was blinded forever. No, not really. Suddenly, Turkina reappeared, her talons gripping a battered katana. Oh, that would make the Jade Falcon logo. Turkina dropped the sword and the founder caught it, overwhelmed by a flood of memories. "Yes, loved one, that is the sword you gave Aaron the Chevalier long ago. I pried it from his lifeless hands for you. Even in death he gripped his weapon, as should every warrior in the last moments of his life. There are many like this weapon, but this one is mine. Pry it from my cold dead fingers. Cherish it and his memory, and use it to draw the blood of any who would dare stand in the way of destiny." Man, this is some powerful stuff. With tears in her eyes, Elizabeth turned again to enter the battle, but paused once more to hear Turkina's parting words. "Before you leave, pull 5 feathers from my wings, and take back this leather cord," the Jade Falcon told her. "As I wore your jesses in life as a token of my devotion, now you and those who will follow you must swear devotion to me and the ways of my falcon kindred. You are now warriors of the wing." Make an awesome metal song, really. The tale concludes with Elizabeth Hazen returning to the battle and killing many enemy soldiers in a particularly violent and gory fashion. She had one job: to kill Bill! Oh no, that's a different thing. Then leading what remained of her troops in a successful attack against the separatist stronghold. While the riots and rebellions continued elsewhere, all-out civil war broke out on Eden. Yeah, can't have nice things in the Garden of Eden. Perhaps it was the death of his old comrade de Chevalier. Perhaps it was despair at facing yet another civil war. But it was not long after that General Alexander Kerensky died. Nicholas, his son and heir, realized that he could not stop the rising violence and decided to let the fire erupt and burn itself out quickly, rather than continue the fight. Gathering together his followers, Nicholas led those loyal to his vision in another exodus. Yeah, we've heard this before. This time to Stranomecti, a nearby globular cluster of worlds. When his personal warship left the Pentagon, Elizabeth Hazen stood by his side. Of course, the idea that the Falcon Turkina broke the bounds of death, distance, and nature to visit her former mistress is ludicrous. But Jade Falcon members say the story is supported, however slenderly, by certain relics, including 5 dusty wing feathers from a Jade Falcon, a leather thong, and a battered katana bearing scratches along its blade that Jade Falcon warriors swear were made by Turkina's talons when she gripped the sword. All the sort of passing in and out of reality. We'll take a little break from this here for a moment. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, or subscribe. You can also interact with me on Twitter and Facebook at L1011Widebody. And if you'd like, you can pledge to sponsor me at patreon.com/L1011Widebody.